All right, what's good, listeners? Our guests today on Just Talking are co-directors Casey Suchan and Tim Cawley to discuss their latest documentary film, Makeshift. It's all about exploring the art and science behind the advertising industry's 20 plus year evolution. And I just got to say right at the top of the show, when I watched you guys' film Makeshift, I wanted to get all those ad makers together, including both of you, because you guys would create the greatest bar conversations. You guys seem like the funnest people to hang
I
out with.
agree.
So how are you guys doing today, this Friday morning?
Doing
Wonderful this
great.
Friday morning. Yeah.
And that's what I love to hear, fam. And Tim, I'm gonna start this right off on the top of the show because it came to my attention that you are the advertising guru. And you see this pen right here? I'm sure you hear this all the time. Could you sell me this pen?
If I had the right analytics and data and algorithms, I might be able to.
Oh, so the ink. So if you got to know whether the ink's wet or dry. So let's
I
say
just
it's
have
dry.
to have my Illuminati contacts, go through your search history, and I can make it happen.
Ah, okay, Tim. I like that. But you know what? I did kind of want to challenge you on the spot because
Sure.
I don't know if you're ready for this one. I have this NFT for sale, and I know this is kind of becoming a little big. So how could you sell this? Because the
I think
weekend
that sells itself, Chris.
it sells itself.
The
Okay.
value is inherent.
Because I mean, I'm literally seeing all these wankers, literally selling NFTs that literally look like urinal artwork. You know what I'm saying? Like people would literally be spending like $420, or I saw the $66 million. I just think that is so insane. But Casey, I know you've been around Tim for a lot. You had over 41 ad makers that you've interviewed in Makeshift. And by the end of this, do you know your ABCs?
I think I know how you sell you that pen. I think if you're a woman, I tell you that pen makes you look thinner. And if you're a man, I tell you that pen's gonna get you dates.
Oh,
Yes!
Tim, that's the
Love
only
it.
way you can sign the tip, right? I mean, the ladies don't want to be paying for it at the end of the day.
You hire me? Am I hired? No.
I think you're beyond hired. I think that was, sorry, Tim. I know you got a lot of expertise, but she's starting to rub off a lot of those gems from you.
Plus, the Illuminati's been texting me. They're not happy I dropped their name in this interview. So we'll go with
well, I know that the NFT is kind of like a black market. So when we're off the show, you're going to have to deal with them, but don't bring my name into it, okay? I just want the dinero. But listeners, let's check out the teaser right now for Makeshift. So Marissa, if we can roll that clip, I think that can give a really good inside look about what to expect from this upcoming film.
It spans the globe like a superhighway. It is called Internet.
That the entire advertising industry was built upon that one little rock that we can buy time from consumers. What happens when they do not let us buy that time?
And advertising, oddly enough, was a huge contributor to figuring out what the internet could be.
Everything was evolving very quickly.
It was all about creating just a unique experience.
It seemed interesting, but not really advertising.
You don't have to define advertising in your traditional sense anymore.
We can either make advertising more annoying or we can make people's lives better.
It's not about tech. It's what technology makes possible.
It's a tool. How can we use technology to uplift people and to help people?
Well, what can we do with virtual reality, AR, mobile, tablets, and how do you convince a brand to go there and innovate that space before anyone else does?
Yeah, that's right. So that is Makeshift. You can go ahead and check that out everywhere. It's on all kinds of streaming services and etc. But Casey, I want to throw this at you because the advertisers in your film had such a hard time explaining the quote unquote digital experience. So with the release of Makeshift, have you thought about what the digital experience means to you?
Well, I think one of the gentlemen in the film said it best, right? He said everybody who's watching this film is going to be having a digital experience. I mean, what isn't a digital experience anymore?
No.
This is a digital experience. So I think the idea that the film kind of teases towards the end of it, after going through this history, is how do we make these digital experiences meaningful to the user? We're not just interrupting you and throwing things at you that you have to consume in order to get to what you want. How do we make that content itself meaningful?
It's so true, and too often I think people forget how young the World Wide Web is, and the internet was literally born on my birthday, 1993. So I'm 27. So to put that into perspective for all the listeners out there, so Tim, what do you imagine is going to be that next aha moment? Is it going to be another chicken?
I think it won't be an aha moment. I think that the chicken, the subservient chicken in the film from Burger King was so aha because no one had thought to do with it, what to do with it. And now it's like every day. You brought up the NFTs.
Yeah.
I had never heard of NFTs before, literally like a week ago. And now I feel like I see them everywhere now that I know what it is.
Yeah, you could have
That's
actually
the aha.
bought. Yeah, you could have bought a virtual NFT Mars home just for you for $500,000.
Do you think this is getting out of control, Tim? Because Mark Cuban also sold a picture of himself with a quote for $1,700. And as someone who's an ad revenue, I mean, are you guys considering, Casey? Are you considering selling your film as an NFT? I mean, you can go on Nifty Gateway now.
I will leave that to Tim.
No, do not put that.
Okay,
All I
so
can do is to sell it for $19.99 actual human dollars.
I think the suburban chicken needs to be an NFT. Let's bring that back as an NFT because that chicken was the best.
All
Yeah,
right.
no,
Tag the CEO of Burger King on this and get him in the mix.
But I mean, I was really amazed when they were talking about how most humans can only come up with 500 gestures. And that was back in 2004. Is that still the case today? Because I'd like to challenge that chicken to do the Old Town Road, for all of us. I mean, is it able? Are we beyond that now, or?
I think we're not even up to that now. I think the attention spans were longer back then. We'd be bored thinking about anything for more than 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm disappointed that the chicken was not able to do the crip walk because the crip walk was around at that time.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I think an update would be amazing, right? Like the chicken going ice bucket challenges,
oh my God,
dances, So
come on, Burger King,
bring it back.
Let's bring it back.
Bring them back.
I love that. And Casey, after interviewing over 41 advertising makers, do you believe that the digital experience is becoming this digital ecosystem, like something out of Westworld? Is that where we're moving towards?
After interviewing 41 people, which is really just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like we just scratched the surface of all the amazing creatives in this industry. But especially talking to people like Active Theory and Hello Monday and some of those companies, I'm really excited to see what's going to come next. Like when they were talking about what is going to be possible with 5G and how I'm going to be able to maybe scroll on the wall of a business through my phone and put digital graffiti there to let somebody know yes or no.
Right. I kept thinking about the Google glasses, right? I mean, how maybe technology is going to catch up with humans, so we're not again staring at our phones 24/7. We're actually there in the moment. But Tim, I did want to throw this at you because when I first reported last week that IOTA, better known as the International Air Transport Association, began testing these digital travel passes for international travel, to me, when I reported on it before the whole hashtag COVID passport went viral this week, it sounded like a huge money-making opportunity for IOTA. So don't try to sell me on some nonsense, Tim. Save that for the clients. But what are your thoughts on all this digital travel pass? Are advertisers going to take advantage of this product to be used, let's say, local music venues, your theme parks?
When you say advertisers take advantage, that's all we do. America has its strengths and weaknesses, but amongst its greatest strengths is anything can be used in the name of capitalism. So any new development, the day it develops, there are companies and advertising agencies and CMOs going, I got an idea.
you know what? That's how I can tell you're an advertising guru. That, I mean, that is the most straightforward, blunt response, and I love that because I was thinking the same thing, and I love that you guys just admit it because that's something that we're gonna have to face moving forward in the new decade. And this is a great example, and I know you guys touch upon this in your makeshift documentary. And I'm gonna throw this at Casey because obviously you don't have to be an advertising guru to know that the consumer plays rough, right? I mean, for example, for the past few weeks, I'm seeing music lovers of Travis Scott, right? I mean, he did the whole McDonald's burger, but now he's trying to sell his hard seltzer drink that's called Cacti. And the audience comments are just destroying him. And I feel like it's that old rule in advertising. Nothing replaces word of mouth. But now it's happening faster, but is it better for us? I mean, what are your thoughts on it, Casey?
Well, I mean, as a consumer, I'm not in the advertising business. I'm all for the power of the consumer. I think it's great. I think the fact that we can hold our icons, our brands, the companies behind the brands accountable is a huge responsibility that we need to do. So thank God we have these tools that we can communicate to them and get them to respond to us.
It
I
almost
like it.
sounds like it could fall into the entertainment world because if you think about it like this, I kind of blame Amazon for a lot of this stuff. I mean, is it fair to say that Amazon shifted the paradigm for online advertising when it comes to their comment section? Because I find a lot of the time, like if I'm gonna go buy a microphone, for example, I'm reading those comment sections to see if it pops, if I put the cable in, is it gonna crackle and etc. So like it doesn't matter whether, you know, Tim, you create an amazing, sexy piece for Beats headphones. I'm not gonna buy it unless Casey says it's super groovy. Does Amazon play a factor? Or?
I think there's two things that so all we can do. They say nothing kills a bad product faster than a good ad. Because, hey, this new microphone came out. I saw this ad for it. I got to go check it out. And then everybody rushes to read the bad reviews.
Yeah.
So I think you talk about Amazon. Amazon, to me, don't tell Jeff Bezos I said this, is the ugliest site experience. It's like you can't, once you get past the credit card and do you want to give to this fund and do you want to put in a new login? It's almost impossible to buy the microphone. But then who's the other richest guys on the planet? The Google guys.
Yeah.
And that's the simplest, most beautiful, elegant, and they've never messed with it.
And it's funny.
It's a box and a doodle.
Yeah, I actually buy a lot of stuff through Google and they'll match price for me and like find the like cheapest one. And I don't have to go through all those hoops and barrels of Amazon. And I just prefer Google. I'm with you on that one.
That's it. It's exactly that. Where I say it's like, there's no right or wrong way. And I think that's a message of the film. It's like the way my agency cracks it is totally different than another way. Like Sergey and the other guy at Google are probably like, Amazon's ugly. And,
yeah, right.
And
I know,
is
right?
probably like, Google's boring. It doesn't have enough
Especially
stuff.
when they're in those judiciary committees and they're doing the hearings and they all have to see each other on the virtual. Do you think they just like block the screen? They can't see face to face. But Tim, I did want to ask you this because I was thinking about this. My art director actually mentioned this with me, Jody, and I thought this was a fabulous question. So shout out to you, fam. You've experienced years of advertising, but with the technology like the Nielsen ratings, right? Like back in the day, my dad had to put a little box, you know, if you wanted to sign up and have them track your viewership. Do advertisers still need to rely on ratings to know what millennials want in 2021?
It's actually a beautiful time to be in advertising from that perspective, in that we've never had more data. Back then it was like, we will run your ad on this highly rated show. We don't know if people will buy it. We don't know if they went to the bathroom during this break. That's a popular show, and that's all we can tell you. Now it's like the person went to the site, they went to this page, they lingered for 47 seconds, they put this in the cart, they reconsidered, they took that out of the cart, they found the credit card thing too complicated, they went off and then they went over to Google.
Wow.
That
And
was
that-
me. You literally are like
that's like-
explaining my exact experience in life. Like,
And this
that
is
was
me
it.
just looking through Marissa's data before we hopped on the call.
And you know what?
Oh,
And I have to say, honestly, out of the film, my favorite part of it was the guy towards the end when he talks about how to be in the present of now, and there is no legacy. Like, he's barreling towards the sun. Like, I was like, that's also where I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a really interesting moment because obviously I can recognize the voice. That was Casey in that moment interviewing that individual, and you were
Yes.
like, "Why are you getting so emotional now?" And have you thought about what that means to you as an independent filmmaker? What does the concept of now mean to you? Because obviously it has something in the world of advertising, but do you think that correlates in your world?
I think every creative person longs for that communication with their audience, right? Whether you're a filmmaker, a painter, a writer, or a person who like invented the subservient chicken. And I think as we get older, in particular, we start to think about what impact are we having and what legacy are we having? And I think that's very much where Alex was in that moment.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a beautiful, sincere, emotional moment. And I really appreciated he went there for us. And I think that's kind of like the artistic experience, the creative experience, and especially like now to speak of
right.
now, when you know things flip so quickly, like something's really hot tomorrow, it's going to be something else. The next day it's going to be like the pages keep flipping faster. So I think that's just, it was a really poignant, like kind of idea to include in the film.
Yeah, and you also had the arc of where advertisement spaces have gone. It started off with the loft. The creative guys are up there. The technic guys are in like the closet under the stairs, Harry Potter. And then towards the end, like it's just cable wires. Like our office is cable wires,
Or
open
just
space. Everybody is being a community. There is no hierarchy. It's very horizontal versus
It's
vertical.
true.
It was great.
No, it's true. And Tim, I gotta throw this at you, man, because like I couldn't help laughing when these ad makers and Makeshift kept saying over and over again, we need a new word for advertising. It's like, really? Are we at that point? I mean, this sounds awfully familiar with NFTs. Like, to me, it's no different than a zipped folder, right? With a blockchain. It's like the George Carlin skit, right? Shell shock, post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, is advertising really that much different today than, let's say, the 90s?
It's like any creative pursuit. It's like there's a self-loathing involved with being a creative person, and you don't want to be viewed as stuck to a thing that's past its expiration date. I was trying to hire somebody like a week ago, and I said, well, being an ad agency, she's like, oh, I just don't want to be part of an ad agency. And like, she was sort of judging me. And I was like, well, I have a movie coming out. I have 2 products coming out. Like, I just used it as a term to say, like, as a blanket thing of we're a company that sells stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, we're trend people. Like, we just got to get hung up in this stuff. Like, you can't call anybody a rock band because it's like, seems like classic rock or grunge or something. You got to make
right.
a term.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, that's kind of true. I mean, especially with in the rock and roll scene, there's definitely a lot of those subgenres. But I got a few more minutes with you guys, and I did want to mention this because Facebook said this week that it's going to introduce a feature that will make it easier for users to choose how content is presented to them in their newsfeed. So you have to toggle on this feature to make it happen. But when I first heard this news this week, my immediate thought was Facebook must be privately losing their court battle with Apple because they're hoping to preserve the rights to take iPhone cell data to best curate your ads for the Facebook users. So do you see that kind of being the situation? And do you think it's unethical to create these kind of, addictive software?
No, it's bad. It's bad. It's not good for humanity. I think the genie's out of the bottle. Money always wins in America. I don't want to be pessimistic. What did Alex say? I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but the genie's out of the bottle. Like, money wins. And that's the economy. Like, those tech stocks did not go down during the pandemic.
Yeah. That's right.
The only upside is I used to have to watch television ads that had no bearing on my life. And now, like, the things I see in Instagram are like, oh yeah, I kind of want one of those. Those are like, I like guitars, or I want something for my deck. But I wish the opt-in stuff was like a little more obvious. You know how you feel
Yes.
like your phone's listening? You're
Oh.
talking to somebody like I could use a new lawn chair this summer, and all of a sudden in your Instagram feed there's 10 ads for like how'd that
Yeah,
happen?
exactly.
I know my thing is once I buy the lawn chair, stop showing me ads. Like that's
We
what
talk
makes me
about
mad.
that,
'Cause,
yeah.
like once I'm like, oh cool, here it is, let me buy it. Then I keep seeing it for like 2 more weeks, and I'm like, I've already bought it. Get it together.
Well, who knows? I
We're
mean,
doing our
especially-
best. We're doing our best.
Well, Casey, you know, to me, it seems like the future is starting to move towards that Westworld lifestyle because I feel like the new trick with advertising is going to start evolving your Google glasses to your. I mean, the Apple Watch is the closest thing to Clark Kent that I can think of.
Yeah.
And I just keep thinking about this. Like, are we going to have like a Tesla tramp stamp tattoo? And then you're just going to be able to like power it up, put codes in it, be able to have GPS on the fly. Is that where we're moving? I mean, it can literally, you know, like those tobacco, like nicotine free, you're going to be like slapping yourself on. And then it's like, put the codes in me, Tim and Casey. Put the
I
codes. No
know.
ads, please.
I mean, listen, I think that this is the conversation of our generation and the generation coming up behind us. Like, this is the moment, right? The internet's been new and cool and building without a lot of guardrails. And now, you know, as we become more digitally integrated, what do we actually want? And where are we going to draw the lines? And what is it going to do to our democracy if we don't start drawing lines? Like, this is now, we've been talking about this a lot on our next film, like the digital public square. That is where, especially during the pandemic, that is where we are coming together, is in these digital spaces. So we have to protect them as aggressively as we protect our, you know, literal public squares.
And that's a very interesting point that you're mentioning, Casey, because, you know, Tim, like, what are gonna be these new tricks in advertising that, let's say, myself or our listeners wouldn't know is happening today? What should we be aware of now?
I think the things you are not aware of are the things that you should be aware of. We made a movie, which is an ad, but it's just a piece of entertainment. Like, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not trying to like sell you things. I'm trying to just engender goodwill and respect your time.
Right.
And you guys were talking about the digital experience. I could not let this go by without telling you this story. My mom, it was down in New Jersey. She goes, I want to see your film. Where can I see it? Send her all the links from the site. Digital experience, right? I don't know if I trust putting my credit card on YouTube. How else can I see it? I go, walk over to your clicker. Is there a little microphone button? She goes, it is. I've never used it. I go, press it and say, makeshift. And then the phone just goes quiet. And I hear, oh my God.
I love parents that are old.
There it was. The trailer just started playing. Casey's picture comes
And then she's
up.
probably going, it's super loud. I don't know how to pause
Oh my
it. Tim,
God.
I'll call you back. I'll call you
I can
back. Tim,
talk
bye.
into my remote and my son's movie comes up.
Oh.
That's everything is a digital experience. She didn't even know that button existed.
I love that. Like, I'm almost seriously, that is like, that's the moment of now. That's what like your film talks about, is how we're bringing in that experience and bringing it into our household without actually connecting face to face, yet still connecting emotionally.
And
I love
13
it.
bucks just flew out of the door. Like, oh my God, I can just have it. Boom.
I love it.
Well, I mean, that's how they're getting you, right? With the Amazon phone, one click to buy. Let's go, you know, especially the same way. Oh, I didn't even realize what I'm paying for now. But hey, it's your mom. And I know she loves the
look
film.
at your cable bill, because I think my kids are renting 4 movies a night, and we have all the channels already.
You're like, stop it. You're grounded.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, we do have 1 minute left. I do want to leave enough time for Tim and Casey for you to be able to shout out your latest film, Makeshift, and where can our listeners check out that brand new film?
So they can see it on all VOD streaming platforms right now. They can go whisper, have a little moment with their, you know, remotes and watch the film. They can do it tonight. They can do it now.
Yeah,
and it's an easy watch. People, hour, 15 minutes. It's fast paced. It keeps you drawn in. Like, I have to admit, it was a really well done documentary. It's fun.
Very well done, and you guys are going to have a very successful time on the film festival routes, and much success to you, and thank you again for joining the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon. Much success.
Much success back.
Bye.